Welcome to the regular meeting of the City of Atascadero Planning Commission, a meeting. Today's Tuesday, March 3rd. And Mr. Vice Chairperson, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Farrell?
Here.
Commissioner Heath?
Here.
Commissioner Jones?
Here.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Here.
Commissioner Panaccio?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Anderson?
Here.
Chairperson Keene?
Here.
All present.
If you are attending in person or listening to the commission meeting tonight, welcome. We will open public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on anything not currently on the agenda and over which the commission has jurisdiction. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name for the record before making your presentation and come up to the podium. The commission may take action to direct the staff to place a matter of business on a future agenda. Okay, seeing none, I'll close public comment and move on to the consent calendar. And I will open the public comment for any consent calendar items. Are there any members of the public wishing to provide public comment on a consent calendar item? Okay, I will go ahead and close that public comment. Do any commission members wish to ask any questions about or pull any items from the consent calendar? No? Okay, can I have a motion?
Commissioner Heath will make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
And I'll second that.
And roll call, please.
Commissioner Heath?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Farrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Commissioner Panaccio?
Yes.
Chairperson Keene?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, is there any planning commission business? No? Okay, any community development staff reports? Okay, and we'll move on to our public hearing. Who's presenting tonight?
Thank you, Chair. Eric Gomez is going to present this item for us tonight for the zone change and conditional use permit, which is basically premised by Chick-fil-A at the Home Depot Shopping Center.
All right, Eric, dazzle us.
Alrighty, I have the unparalleled pleasure of presenting to you and dazzling you all tonight with the project we have in front of us today. So today we're talking about the Home Depot Center broadly, more specifically about an amendment that's come in to amend the Home Depot Master Plan development. As you may know, the Home Depot Center is located on the far north side of El Camino Real in our city. This is a combination of actions that we're asking for your recommendation to City Council for today, all listed under entitlement or conditional use permit 250069. So on your screen right now, you have the project site. It's the Home Depot Master Plan of Development, the Home Depot Center. It's about 27 acres of commercial park zone land. Just a little bit of background. There's been several iterations since the early 2000s to the Home Depot Center, which have allowed over time about 230,000 square feet of development. The most recent amendments, they've included different iterations of restaurants and retail shells. I think most recently was an expanded hotel to the south of the existing Spring Hill Suites. All these amendments have since expired, and we've been working with the ownership of the property as they've explored a new avenue to complete those 3 vacant pads that they have left on the property. Wow, that was a boost to my microphone there. That was lovely. So that is what we're here to discuss today, and we're very excited about it. About last year or 2 years ago, we did some outreach with the local high schools, and they said they really wanted some chicken restaurants. And so part of the project description that we're here to discuss today is a chicken restaurant that is hoping to occupy one of those three vacant shells. And so they were doing it for the youth today. So really quickly, just a quick project description. What you're looking at today is a zone text amendment. So the Home Depot master plan of development is zoned under a plan development overlay number 9. And currently that plan development overlay doesn't allow car wash uses. So part of the actions that we're looking at is to do a zone text amendment specifically to this PD plan development. This PD only applies to this commercial center, and it would conditionally allow, meaning that they'd have to apply for a conditional use permit, but it would conditionally allow a car wash. The second action here is the actual conditional use permit. All drive-through uses in this zone require a conditional use permit, and with the zone amendment that we are, that the applicant is proposing, so would that car wash. And as a bundle deal, you get that extra little retail shell that they're proposing as well. And they're also proposing a lot line adjustment to clear some underlying conflicts with the property lines that are existing on the property today. So on your screen, you can see that the Home Depot Center is actually kind of split into two sides. You have the east side and the west side. The east side being east of El Camino Real, that's where your Home Depot and your Staples are located. And right next to that Staples, if you know the property on that vacant pad, is where they are proposing a drive-through car wash. On the west side of the development, where the Spring Hill Suites is currently, and where the previously proposed hotel would have been, they are proposing a new drive-through restaurant that would be currently planned to be Chick-fil-A. And closer to the restaurant, further west on that same area, they are proposing a retail/restaurant commercial shell building. The car wash would be about 4,000 square feet. The new drive-through restaurant would be about 5,000 square feet. The retail shell would be about 4,200 square feet. So just a quick overview of what they're proposing here. So some images on your screen right now. You can see kind of that location map that I've put on the bottom left corner there. But on the corner intersection of El Camino Real, they are proposing that drive-through restaurant building. And then a little bit closer to the hotel, as I mentioned earlier, is that commercial shell building. All of it is generally contemporary architecture for, pretty standard for what you see in that center. Stucco walls, metal accents, some tower elements on both the commercial shell and the car wash building. You'll see that as you go out there today, there are some masonry/tile elements across the board for all the buildings that are there currently. And so we wanted to kind of try to tie the architecture, the general site architecture and design together by asking that Chick-fil-A also do the same. That's the one condition that we place on that design. And so that is noted in the conditions of approval. And we'll jump over to the east side. Yeah, the car wash building, again, very similar contemporary design for that building. Standing seam metal roof for the vacuum areas. Throughout the site, on either end, there will be landscape improvements generally along the site boundaries. Jumping into signage for the site. So there is a lot of existing signage on the at the commercial center. It is governed by a master sign program that was approved with the development. And so under that master sign program, each essentially business is able to have up to 60 square feet of signage per a wall facing a parking lot or a public street. As shown on their plans, most of the buildings comply with that, with the exception of the car wash building. Just the purpose-built design of a car wash building means that there's a really long, narrow side and two really short sides. And given where that vacuum area is proposed, to make signs that are feasible for it, they're going to always take up a little bit more than 60 square feet as measured on their plans, which are conceptual at this point. It seems about they seem to be at 90 square feet. And so we're requesting a design exception from that master sign program to allow those extra 30 square feet of signage specifically on that car wash building. Outside of those wall signs, you will also see signs on a new monument sign, as well as the existing freeway-facing pylon that you're seeing on your screens here. Those are related to the Chick-fil-A. Again, all signs will be installed with sign permits and comply with any applicable provisions of our sign code, as well as a master sign program. So as part of the conditional use permit, the applicants are requesting a parking reduction. It's important to note that all of the parking at the center is essentially shared, very typical for a commercial center. But as a whole, especially particularly on the east side, they are required to have 262 parking spaces. They are proposing 236 parking spaces. So it's about a 30 space deficit. We believe that this is a justifiable reduction just based on how the site operates, the available queuing area for that east side for the Chick-fil-A, and how many people are anticipated to be using that parking lot. We think the parking demand is probably overestimated, and also with there being so much shared parking across both sides of the development, we do not consider this a significant issue and are recommending approval of that parking reduction. We also have a request for a driveway modification. Our typical standard when we're constructing or modifying driveways is to try to keep at least 145-foot driveway spacing. So between any two driveways, aim to have 145 feet. Generally, that's considered a safe distance, reduces turning conflicts, it reduces sight distance conflicts when maneuvering or circulating throughout the site. In this case, just based on how their parking worked out with the site, and just working through those improvements and making sure you have enough queuing space for the drive-through restaurant, it starts eating up space while also trying to meet other requirements of site improvements. So the maximum amount of space they could provide between the driveways was 109 feet. This project was reviewed by our public works team. It did come with a review of these changes by a traffic engineer, which is again peer reviewed by our public works team, and we have no concerns with this request to modify that driveway standard. A quick discussion on just general traffic and circulation. I know this has been a big topic for this project, and we've been working with the applicant team to address some of the concerns that you typically see with drive-through restaurants and new commercial development as it relates to traffic generation and making sure there's and the site is designed so that you're not creating something that people don't want to go to. Right now, the Chick-fil-A is designed to have a 33 vehicle queue for their drive-through restaurant. The car wash is proposed with a 13 vehicle queue. The only driveway they're proposing to modify is that southeast driveway on the property, which is getting a little bit closer to the one in the north. We do recognize that a lot of these drive-through restaurants in town, in particular, at the very beginning of their operation, will see a lot of traffic. People get very excited, just like they did for Sonic, just like they still do for In-N-Out. So what we asked for Chick-fil-A is to make sure that as they're finishing this project, getting closer to opening, before they finish their building permits, that they're providing us with a traffic control plan for that property. And so making sure that we feel confident that, if there is queues that are going to go beyond their queue capacity for their driveway, that we have, we can depend on them to go ahead and control the traffic with both staff members and signage on the property that will alleviate any of that congestion and make sure it doesn't leak back over onto the street to the extent possible. Another issue that's gotten brought up, or concern I should say, has gotten brought up is noise. We are conditioning or providing some conditions related to noise for the car wash in particular. Anytime you have a car wash anywhere near residential uses or even lodging uses in this case, there's always a concern that some of that equipment may create noise that carries into the residential neighborhoods. And so with this project, we are conditioning the car wash stick to operating hours of 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. To make sure they more or less coincide with what the city's noise ordinance is. We are also requiring, as part of the condition, design parameters for the car wash that will reduce operational noise. And so those are usually preset manufacturer specs by the vendor of the car wash equipment. So that might mean some kind of silencer on the vacuums. That might mean some kind of special shielding along equipment, or it could mean, some type of special washing equipment. So there are a few options they have there depending on what manufacturer they go with on the design of that building and the equipment that's being used. With that being said, our recommendation today is listed on the PowerPoint on your screen right now. So we are recommending that the Planning Commission adopt a draft resolution recommending that the City Council amend the plan development overlay number 9 to conditionally allow car wash uses, approve the lot line adjustment 8 TAL 25-0042, subject to findings and conditions of approval, and approve the conditional use permit with the parking reduction, driveway design modification, and sign exception to amend the Home Depot Center master plan development and to allow a car wash, drive-through restaurant, and commercial shell at the Home Depot Center, subject to findings and conditions of approval.
Thank you. I actually have a few questions and then I'll hand it over to some of my fellow commissioners. I don't know that I really saw it much, but if we're using the additional parking lot on the other side, on the east side, what is the plan for crosswalks, pedestrian crossings, making sure that those things are there to protect anybody crossing the street, and also just because of the fact that there's a bus stop right there, so there's going to be people walking. If we've got kids around there, is there anything specific that we've done for pedestrians in that area?
So a lot of that site, as it's been developed, has been largely improved. So there are already existing sidewalks fully compliant with our local engineering standards. Crosswalks have been added. There are crosswalks, I believe, right across that traffic circle. The whole goal of the previous conditions for the master plan development, which will stay in place, was to create kind of that pedestrian crossing pattern in a safe way. So none of them are going to be changed, but most of them are already there. And I'll let Public Works, Mr. DeBar, Public Works Director, is here with us today. He can speak to that as well.
Good evening. Yeah, that's a great question. That bus stop right now that's there, that's actually not being used by RTA. So that's not an active bus stop. In fact, when I was up there earlier today, I was like, oh, we should pull that bench and that signpost there. So we'll probably be doing that. The other one is there's crosswalks right now right at San Ramon, at that 4-way stop. We would encourage people to use that if they're going between the centers. Mid-block crosswalks, like where that roundabout would be, closer to where the proposed car wash is. We would want people to probably walk down and cross at that controlled intersection just for safety reasons.
Okay, yeah, because I'm there a lot. And so when they put in the road, is there going to be like fresh paint, new surface, refreshing all of that? Because right now, a lot of that paint is super faded. I guess that's a question for you, Nick.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was just talking to the applicant earlier about, and they'll have to do some modifications for signage and pavement markings up there. We'll be looking at kind of that pavement condition and seeing how, because the surface is a bit raveled.
Mm-hmm.
It's in good shape structurally for the most part. There's a couple areas that have a couple issues, but for the most part, it's in good shape. And we'll work with the applicant on making sure that the pavement markings and the traffic control that's put in place is, easy to follow for those traveling to this center.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else questions, comments for staff?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, go ahead.
Given traffic on that off-ramp right there, it's a very short off-ramp. With the added traffic,
What do you think is a good control method? Because it's just a stop sign right there and sometimes it gets congested.
Yeah, of all places in town, I mean, the applicant couldn't have probably picked a better spot to for capacity for traffic because this corridor. I mean, you look at Santa Rosa, or you look at any of our other interchanges, and they're pretty impacted. This corridor is not, and their traffic report. I mean, they're not going to be queuing up onto the main line of the highway or anything, but it still operates at an acceptable level of service, and the queuing lengths aren't exceeded. So we don't really anticipate too many issues there. The first month, I don't know if you guys remember when, when Sonic came in, and it was like, I was getting calls that first week, like, we got to do something about that traffic. And I just said, just wait a couple weeks and it'll kind of die down. We put a condition in the conditions of approval for some temporary or mitigation during that first month or so. If they do have a lot of traffic in that area, they'll have to work with the city on, having a traffic control contractor out there directing traffic or whatever it might be. It's a good problem to have. I mean, it's going to be real successful. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
No, I just want to know if you had anticipated that, which you always do. And, it's kind of like the fair, when the fair comes to town, you can plan for it, but it gets really busy. So it's good to have a lot of traffic.
Yeah, I feel like Chick-fil-A is going to bring a lot of traffic, but I'm glad that you guys are on it. So I hope that it stays under control because I live right there. So not right there. I mean, far enough away, and it's Chick-fil-A. I don't know. I feel like y'all are underestimating how much people are going to come to Chick-fil-A. Anybody else?
That's what I was thinking too. I have an 11-year-old. We're already excited. What's the threshold or at what point would you do more surveys to determine if we need a light?
Yeah, right now, I was just refreshing my memory on the traffic, and we had them really look at 4 main intersections for the project. One was right at San Ramon and El Camino. Another one was at the on and off ramps, the one on El Camino northbound, and then the one on the other side of the freeway. And then the third one, which was number 2 in the traffic report, is right at that roundabout, the main entrance for the Spring Hill Inn. And, none of these exceed, with the existing plus project. Level of service is, doesn't really change. The only one that does is they're all A or B, and nothing changes with any of them except the northbound ramp at El Camino goes from a level of service A to a level of service B after the project is done. And the queuing is all consistent with, there's enough queuing on the corridor to handle any cars stacking up at these intersections. So usually we would look at, there's certain warrants that would warrant a traffic signal. But none of these are very close. Level of service is delayed through an intersection. That's what it's measuring. And you'd usually have to drop down below a C, level of service C, so at like a D to start looking at those traffic signals.
Okay. So we got a ways to go.
We got a ways to go.
Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to make a comment. I anticipate a lot of kids would like to go, kind of like they go to Sonic and they go to In-N-Out. They'll probably want to go to Chick-fil-A or even the other shops that are there, and maybe the car wash, who knows? But with the idea that, you're going to have more pedestrian traffic, probably crossing that intersection. I can't anticipate too many high schoolers getting out at high school and running over to Staples maybe Staples, but Home Depot on their bikes, but definitely Chick-fil-A. So we might want to anticipate some, pedestrian lights or pedestrian added features to help calm that, keep them safe.
Yeah, we can monitor that. It's hard to say. It's hard to predict, human behavior sometimes. Sometimes human behavior when it comes to traffic is really predictable. Other times it's not. And we can keep an eye out for that. And, we are looking at different portions of El Camino right now, where we could add enhanced crosswalks where there's none. And because we have some really long sections in town that are not controlled, you have to almost walk a mile or so to cross. So we're looking at that right now. And, a crosswalk across El Camino that's not controlled with either a traffic signal or a four-way stop would warrant some kind of enhanced crosswalk minimum, like a push bar that has a flashing sign. So, I mean, that is something that would probably be pretty easy to implement on that roundabout intersection, if you will.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Excuse me. And as for, so you said the traffic levels like A or B, and we would need it to be like C or D for it to be the traffic, to get to a traffic signal point. Is that something that, what would trigger a new study? I mean, would it just be people calling like, oh my God, it's taking me an hour to get to Chick-fil-A from the on-ramp? It's an overestimation, but I mean, is that what would trigger a new study to see if the traffic pattern has changed? Or is it just something that you would do in a year? Or like what would trigger that to see if the traffic, those intersections have changed to the point where we need to start thinking about those things?
Yeah, and I think, this is their due diligence with this traffic study, and it's just a study, it's a model. I mean, it's they're using SLOCOG data sets and then other collected traffic counts for existing and kind of what's projected. And usually we'd be looking at future development in the area. So once they build and once is happening, then it becomes, can't really go back to the applicant and say, okay, now you guys have to build a traffic signal, because that kind of, this is the opportunity, but we're not even close to that. And so it'd be the city looking at a lot of those traffics, and if there's complaints, we might do a traffic study at an intersection, and then see if it meets the warrants to build one. If that helps.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, I have a couple questions, and first for staff, and then what I believe the applicant's represented tonight. I might have a couple questions for the applicant as well. One, I do want to just comment. I'd like to push the notion of that mid-block crosswalk. I do think that location is going to invite people to park across the street and cross at that roundabout area. So I do agree with the enhanced crosswalk with the lighted feature, but I do want to think about that. And that's the only public comment we received actually on this project was related to the car wash. So I'll first ask staff, and Ms. Gleason might remember this. This commission actually addressed car washes and blowers across from In-N-Out Burger at the Greyhound car wash about 12 years ago. And we got into the business of limiting the number of blowers on the car wash. I don't really care about the number of blowers. I want to know the best technology available in the decibel. That's all I really care about. So I'm wondering if the applicant can speak to that. And then the second part of that question is, does it matter to you on your queuing? Can you put it on the south side so that the blowers aren't aimed at the hotel where people are trying to rest at the morning hour of operation based on your queuing? I don't want to redesign your project or run your business, but I think thinking about the best technology available in the decibel is really what matters to the impacts to both the neighborhood and the existing businesses.
So we're going to stick to staff questions, and then we'll hear from the applicant, and then we can ask him questions.
I'm previewing that, so he's got a moment to think about it. I'm often the applicant, so I appreciate that. That's all.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, if the applicant would like to come forward.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Connor Best with Westar Associates, representing Atascadero 101 Associates, the property owner. We've owned and managed this center for about 28 years, and we're proud to bring forward what we see as the final phase of this development. Excuse me. This proposal completes the build out of Highway 101 interchange site, of this Highway 101 interchange site. Because of this, because of the unique constraints of this northernmost off-ramp, we've worked carefully to design a plan that includes the three final components: a quick service drive-through restaurant, a complimentary retail pad building, and a car wash. Together, these uses round out the center and support its long-term success. The project adds convenient services for local residents, highway travelers, and customers of nearby businesses like Home Depot and the surrounding hotel. The car wash in particular is a use that fits well with a freeway-oriented site like this. Our local traffic engineer has evaluated existing conditions and worked closely with Chick-fil-A's traffic engineering team. The analysis addresses ingress, egress, stacking, and overall site circulation and accounts for the full build-out of the project. We appreciate the collaboration from planning staff, public works, and other city departments throughout this process. Representatives with Chick-fil-A and I are available for any questions, one of which I've just received. And we would respectfully ask for the opportunity to respond to any more public comments and discuss some of the conditions of approval at the commissioner's direction. Thank you. And to answer Mr. Jones's question, we do not have an operator of the car wash yet, but we're happy to include that in some sort of condition for the car wash. And I believe that our acoustic study does limit the distance at which the blowers could approach that final exit of that tunnel. Unfortunately, for the kind of rerouting of the circulation, we do believe, and we've checked with a number of operators, that the way that the traffic enters now and into the vacuum, that's unfortunately just, for the way our roads work, the best way to orient that. And to address the public comment that was written, we've performed the acoustic study of the car wash, and for the homes to the north on the other side of the railroad, we do not see an impact beyond, normal noise that they're already receiving from highway and railroad traffic. So
you're saying it's comparable to ambient, or do we have a decibel rating?
Sorry, can you restate?
Are we saying it's comparable to ambient noise levels, or do we have a decibel rating for that? For the
Yeah,
homes?
in the acoustic study, I think there's, some decibel readings that were within the acceptable range during your noise ordinance between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. So, truck traffic noise, other business noise that's allowed through the city, projected, speakers and things like that for drive-through restaurants or other businesses that produce noise throughout the day. I think we're within the limits of the city code. And Eric, can you help me out with any specifics on that acoustic study that we did?
No, it's about, they did prepare an acoustic study. That results of the acoustic study's recommendations were to limit the operating hours during that time, and to limit the decibel, or to ensure that there's, a way to limit the decibels that they're creating through the dryers in particular. One of those ways that we did that, or one of the ways that we did that, was through that condition that requires kind of that silencing package when they go and design the car wash.
I'll just ask a simple question. Do we have a decibel rating? Is it like 100 decibels, which is the limit for auto exhaust in the state of California, or do we have a number?
I don't have that number in front of me right now.
Yeah,
I can try to
I
get it
don't
for
have
you.
that number in front of me either. I'm sorry. But we did provide an acoustical report to the staff.
No other questions, Madam Chair.
Anyone else have questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks. If I may just discuss a couple of the conditions of approval to bring to your attention that
Sure.
we're still discussing with staff, and we'd like to potentially make changes before we go to city council. Number 7 of the conditions of approval describes some landscape screening on Chick-fil-A's decorative trash enclosure, which I think Eric was alluding to during his presentation, that we already have some decorative stone and split face block. So we don't really want to wrap the decorative trash enclosure with landscape screening. And the operators have had issues with rodents in these kind of landscape screened trash enclosures. So that's one that we would hope to just eliminate, is the landscape screening of the trash enclosures. Some ambiguous or subjective ones that we're trying to work out with staff are number 3, number 16, number 18, number 27, and number 30. And then there's 3 more that we've provided more specific plans to staff, and we're trying to reach more of a specific agreement. And those are numbers 12, 17, and 18. So happy to answer any of those more specifically if you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and open public comment. Is there any member of the public wishing to make a comment on this project? Please come up to the podium and state your name, and you have 3 minutes. Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment and bring it back to the commission. Comments, any other questions?
Can we hear staff's response to those additional items?
Yeah, because I don't think we got a copy of those.
And I don't see that on the website for the public to understand that either.
I don't think we're discussing that portion of it yet. We're just doing the lot.
Additions of the,
Yeah, just the lot changes right now.
What was the question?
he had some requests that we amend some of the conditions on
Yes.
the permit, but I don't think we got a copy of those conditions.
You don't have a copy of the condition.
No, when he was stating the numbers, we didn't get copies of that.
It doesn't appear to be on the website either.
Uh-oh. Okay, that's a concern. I'm asking Eric if we can bring those conditions up now on our screen. Apologize for that. Didn't realize that didn't get published properly in terms of that portion.
I do believe we are being asked to approve the CUP.
We'll bring up those in just a moment. We just need to get the document, and we'll have those up on a screen so we can talk about the specific conditions the applicant's concerned about.
Can you bring up on the screen the 3 options for the approvals tonight so we can just verify what we're looking at?
I will do that in just a second.
Thank you.
Just bear with us a moment while we pull those items up. Thank you.
Chairperson Keen, we could take a brief recess for 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and take a brief recess for 5 minutes.
Perhaps a recess in 10 minutes is in order to allow staff.
Okay, we will reconvene for the meeting. Can we ask the applicant to give us a list of those conditions again?
Yes, just before he does that, I just want to state for the record that conditions of approval and the resolution was passed out to all commissioners at the dais, and there is a copy available for the public to review in the room. The conditions will also be displayed on the monitor, which will be projected to Zoom, and we'll be uploading them to the website as soon as possible.
Thank you. So we got number 7 with the trash enclosure.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you. And it's purely just the language about the evergreen screening there. The rest of it we're fine with for number 7. And then,
Sorry, that the screening material is evergreen. You want different screening material, or that
All right.
there is screening material around it?
yeah, so just the language that refers to the evergreen screening material. We think that the trash enclosure is a highly decorative design, and we don't want to put screening around the decorative split concrete and stone.
So no plants at all.
That's what that's the request.
And to clarify, that was also based on operational experience that rodents and other things get into that area. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
And then the biggest list here, and I'll list them for you. Item 3, item 16, item 18, item 27, and item 30. Just provide some ambiguous or subjective language to allow changes to the plans. And we're just trying to limit that amount of change to no material change beyond the, conceptual plans. With a small margin, we can change here or there, but we're trying to control costs and make sure that this project works for everybody. So some of these, we're just concerned that we don't want to give someone a blank check to change these conditions. That's basically it. And then the 3 items that we've provided some plans to staff, and we're still working out the exact details of that. And it's just kind of a notification that, yes, we're okay with these conditions as long as we kind of detail them down a little bit more and lock it in. Those are items 12, 17, and 18. So we have a photometric plan. We're working on these pavement marking plans, and we're working on this. We've provided a traffic management plan for the first month of operation that we think is adequate. We're just trying to get agreement and a thumbs up that it's agreed to by staff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, and then just to let you know, so myself and representatives from Chick-fil-A are here, happy to discuss it more if you like.
Perfect, thank you.
And Chairperson Keen, if I could, just out of an abundance of caution, I would recommend maybe we reopen public comment to see if there's anyone that would like to speak based on the new information that was provided to the public.
Okay, I will reopen public comment on this item for the zoning change and conditional use permit. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on this item after the conditions of approval have been put on the back table? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and close public comment. We can bring it back to the commission. We may have some more questions for staff. Number 3. The Community Development Department shall have the authority to approve the following minor changes to the project that modify the site plan project by less than 10% and or result in a superior site design or appearance. My question is more, what are the following minor changes?
No, it's if they make any changes to the plan, they don't have to come back here to Planning Commission. The Community Development Department can just approve it.
So it makes it ministerial?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Because
pretty-
it says the authority to approve the following minor changes.
Just additional information on these conditions, the first several conditions here. our stock conditions that we have on every single use permit. And they give our department the flexibility to be able to do minor modifications when the construction plans come in without having to come back to commission. So we keep this caveat out here. It's basically a public FYI.
So this isn't something where you're gonna go in and be like, oh, you know what, never mind, I want to change that where that driveway is. It would be something that
No,
they would bring to you with minor changes as the building permits, construction permits. And things.
correct. When they get into construction details, sometimes things have to change to respond to the building code. And we don't want to have to come back here to deal with that, for example.
Mhm. It's actually in the benefit of the owners.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we probably need to discuss the trash enclosure screening. The lighting is number 12. I think number 16 is another one. The city engineer shall have the authority to approve minor revisions. That makes sense. Number 17 is a big one. That's the improvements to the road. We can obviously discuss those as well. The traffic control mitigation plan. We've talked a little bit about that. And number 27 is about utilities. I think that's probably pretty stock. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do much about that.
And then 30 is the fire truck.
And then 30 is the fire truck. Again,
Whichever project has to do.
oh, yes, go ahead.
Hi, sorry. And just to clarify, so this fire truck, the photometric, these are provided on our plans. So we just view the added condition as kind of another reach, another ask. So we're just hoping our plans are sufficient and we're just trying to say we're okay. But just to clarify, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, just.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. My experience is that the staff has been very forthcoming and eager to work with new buildings and codes. So anything that you bring forward that doesn't violate this would more than likely be approved or worked with. And I can't foresee any of our staff having anything major to be changed if it's not fitting within these guidelines. They're very diligent in that. So I don't think you have anything to worry about.
We do have to talk about the trash enclosure though. So any thoughts and comments on the trash enclosure?
Yeah, I'm pro hygiene and fine with no vegetation around a well-decorated trash facility.
And any other people with opinions on plants around the trash enclosure? Okay, then we'll deal with that when we make a motion.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes.
if we can ask staff for one more clarification. I, again, during recess, could not find the conditional use permit associated with the agenda item, either in the HTML format or the PDF format. So I'm wondering if members of the public had the opportunity to review the conditional use permit before us tonight. Can you take a moment to see if that's publicly available?
I'm happy to respond to this. I'm not sure about the status of its review, but in terms of properly noticing this for the Brown Act, this was properly noticed. We have the project on the agenda. What the public is, it's important for the public to have is whatever you have. So whatever documents that the commission was able to see is what is important that the public has, which is what we've done here tonight with the additional information. And is there additional document that you're referring to?
Compliance is the floor, not what we strive for. So I appreciate that. But this is not publicly available to the best of my knowledge, and I've been trying to show that. So it's available now,
Yes.
but
And it became available to the public at the same time it became available to the commission tonight,
Correct.
is my clarification.
I mean, I'd like to float the notion that if folks didn't get to see a conditional use permit adjacent to a neighborhood and existing businesses, two things. One, I very much like this project and want to move ahead with it. I'm just concerned that our community didn't get to actually see what we're discussing now, and we're reading it on the fly with a list of changes. I have a notion to float a motion to continue for 2 weeks so that staff and the applicant can get better alignment. Again, I'm very supportive of the project, and I know our community welcomes investment, but I'm concerned that folks didn't get a chance to see it. And so that's that. I know we have compliance on the floor. I don't dispute that, but I think our standard is usually a little higher than that.
I mean, that is certainly a motion that you can make. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
In regards to number 7,
Mhm.
to alleviate any confusion, we could add the line trash enclosure landscape screening materials, if utilized, shall be evergreen and shall be of a height to adequately screen the enclosure walls. That way you guys can discuss it later and see if they are required to be utilized or not, and they could be left off.
Well, I think that one specifically, we can just take it out if we don't want to require it. But if we put in that if utilized, it makes it really big. So we either need to be like, it's required or it's not required.
Well, okay, yeah. If you want to just remove it, then
That'll be part of the motion.
there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if there's no more questions, comments, if someone wants to make a motion, if,
I'll make the motion.
okay.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, you have to say it.
Pardon, yeah, can I get some clarification on what the motion and
What the motion
entails?
is, yeah.
Can
Okay,
you put
go
the
ahead.
motion on the calendar?
Yeah.
I mean,
let's
I'm
go ahead and
sorry,
pull it up.
the motion on the screen. And then you'll need to say what's on the screen and then
Oh,
add
I'm
that
just
we're
reading.
not requiring the trash enclosure,
Yeah, let's see.
landscape materials.
Here's the resolution. There we go. Just had it. Here we go. All righty, perfect. All right, I'll make the motion to the Planning Commission adopt the draft resolution recommending the City Council amend the Plan Development Overlay Zone number 9 to conditionally allow car wash uses, approve lot line adjustment ATAL 25-0042, subject to findings and conditions of approval, and approve a conditional use permit with a parking reduction, driveway design modification, and sign exception to amend the Home Depot Center Master Plan of Development, CUP 2000-0014, and allow a car wash, drive-through, restaurant, and commercial shell at the Home Depot Center. Numbers,
I don't think you have to read all those.
yeah, with APMs, and subject to findings and conditions of approval with the changes to number 7 to remove the line about requiring landscape around the trash enclosure. Take a thumbs up. Do I hear a second? Oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Heath
That's
will
your job.
second.
Yeah, that's my job.
I apologize.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay, roll call.
Vice Chairperson Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Panaccio,
Yes.
Chairperson Keen.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Good luck with your project.
Yeah, thank you for choosing your task at Thank you very much.
I can say now I'm sad there's no Chick-fil-A here tonight. Just saying, they didn't hear me. Okay, any commissioner comments or reports? Any brief report on your own activities, things you'd like to let the, yes, Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, just one. This is to staff. I try not to be critical, but I do want us to have some quality assurance that all of the documents on the agenda are readily available. I think that was an unacceptable miss tonight for a conditional use permit to not have the conditions available to the public well in advance of the hearing. So I'd like to just, I know that that wasn't intentional and you take your jobs very seriously, but that does put this commission in an awkward position. Our job is to have things tidy and resolved before it goes to the city council, and not still have things and the applicant far apart with us. I don't mind amending a condition or two, and I'm happy the applicant was represented, but we can do better, and I'm asking for that.
Thank you, and apologies for the omission. It is a mistake on our behalf to not have it published on the site, and oversight on our behalf. Luckily, this is moving forward to City Council, and I guarantee we will have the report and all of the conditions in their entirety online and in print before we go to that hearing. So appreciate the feedback. Apologies for what happened here tonight. I've never seen this happen in my years at Atascadero of omitting that, and threw us all off tonight here. So apologies for that. Apologies for the delay. And thank you for your comments and feedback on that.
Thank you.
You know, I think we all have some guilt. I mean, not one of us noticed that. And I was kind of shocked because I'm like, wait, we're missing something. So I apologize for not saying something before the meeting started.
We are surprised ourselves that none of you contacted us. We didn't hear from the public on this issue. Normally we would. So fortunately, it wasn't noticed by anybody until now. But here we are. But
The
again,
excitement of chicken sandwiches.
it is our mistake.
The waffle fries. Yeah. Okay, anybody else? Any report, Mr. Director?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. I do have a report for you because we are so busy right now. Lots going on. Primarily, want to give you guys an update on the general plan EIR, and our zoning ordinance update. These are some pieces that are going to be coming before the City Council and before the Planning Commission over the next 6 months. Our goal is to complete all of those activities by June of this year. And we're going to be at pretty much every City Council hearing with a major piece of that between now and June. And we're also going to be stopping at the Planning Commission in between at several hearings to show you components of that as well. We are probably 2 weeks away from publishing the environmental impact report for the general plan. Its planned publication date's March 16th. It'll have a 45-day review period. It's an incredibly interesting read. Our legal team, Taylor here included, Kelly, our planning manager, and myself have been reading through that daily, hourly, nightly. So we're trying to make sure it's nailed down tight before that gets released to the public. At the same time, we're putting the I's and the T's onto the zoning ordinance, which will implement the general plan place types. And so we're getting that nailed down tight. So we're in the final stages. I know you haven't heard much about that recently, and it's because we've been developing this environmental impact report and all the background reports that go with it. And we're working right down to the wire to make the publication date and make it happen so we can get everything done by mid-June. And hopefully get it done before we get close to election season. That's the idea. But it's taken us a little longer than we had hoped to get these things along. But anyway, I'm happy to answer any of your questions about that process and some of those dates. But yeah, like I said, every hearing we'll be moving forward with something with that. And busy time right now for us in ComDev.
So planning commissioners, plan your vacations around our very, very important planning commission meetings, okay?
Curious, I hadn't noticed on the website, but checking at the recess. Do we have any agenda items for March 17th at this point?
Do we have any agenda items? Kelly is nodding her head yes. What do we have on tap for the 17th? We're going to be bringing you, I'm looking at my calendar here. I don't have any of the general plan or zoning stuff for the 17th. What do we got?
I believe we were bringing the APR.
Ah, yes, the housing report. So we're going to bring you the annual report that we take to HCD that tells us how many housing units we built in 2025, what the affordability levels were and all that stuff. So Yeah, just our run-of-the-mill APR report that we present to HCD. So we'll have the numbers and so nothing to take action on. It'll be just a presentation report. So
We'll be doing a new chair.
that is the other component. Thanks for the reminder. We will also be putting in a notification that will be nominating and electing a chair and vice chair. So in your
Lead
minds,
the
you can all start
campaign.
thinking about that and how that might work
It'll be
out.
St. Patrick's Day, so make sure you wear your green.
Is it actually on St. Patrick?
17th, yeah.
That is the St. Patrick's Day.
Well, I was
So-
hoping for a blank agenda as Thomas Patrick Jones. And I think
Yeah.
By similarly.
Yeah.
Green.
Yeah. So it'll
You're
be
gonna
a
have to get
green
green beer here.
green commission.
Yes.
Yes. I expect you all have green on, please.
That's right. Okay, is the downtown project completely finished?
No,
Okay,
it's
so
not.
what do we have left on that?
There's some spectacular pieces coming along. They call it phase 2, and it's going to include these beautiful arch signs at each end of the downtown that are reminiscent of the historic Atascadero sign that once spanned El Camino Real near Atascadero Creek. It's a beautiful design. A Pierre Rademacher, a local designer, really helped put together the design. It'll be on a metalwork and sort of columnar supports on each end, and the Atascadero sign will span the entire roadway and be backlit. It's beautiful. It's kind of got the vintage letters similar to the original sign. And then there's a tunnel project to improve the tunnel and the tunnel lighting, clean that up. And there's these cool little finishing pieces on the top of all those poles that everyone's been looking at. And they're like, well, there's something that needs to be finished on there. And there's a little bit of landscape that has to go into and some planters. And so it's the icing on the cake to be done. But I think Nick's got an announcement for you on the project that he's really excited about. He didn't bring it with him tonight, but tell us about it, Nick.
Yes, Nick, tell us.
Sitting here wondering, where is he leading me to? No, the project, we accepted an outstanding project award for 2025 from the League of California Cities last week at the Public Works Officer Institute. So this beat out 9 other statewide projects in this category. There's like 5 categories. This was like the outstanding road project, innovation and sustainability. And yeah, I mean, when we're looking at the runner-ups, you know, you got County of San Diego and you got, you know, all these big agencies that we beat out on it. And so I'm guessing this is the year we accept all awards for the cool project that we did.
And that's for the downtown project?
That's for the downtown project.
That's
Yep.
amazing. That's fantastic.
Congratulations.
Way to go, Atascadero. Well, good. I'm glad we could end the night on a good note. So I will adjourn our meeting and we'll be back on the 17th. And if I could do a good Irish accent, I would.